expand as per your priorities and as per your interests. So I guess as a woman, we have different stages in lives, and at each stage we have different priorities. Today I think I feel a little old here because all of you are youngsters. I'm on the cusp of becoming a grandmother. So I think I'm actually on the wrong. Well, I got married young, I got my children married young, but I pursued my career post that. So not only my career, I pursue a lot of other passions too. I run, I cycle, I'm into fitness, so I guess time has a way of expanding to suit your requirements and your passions. So that's what I talk about, work-life balance. If I can do it, and I'm an ordinary Indian woman, coming from a very, very conservative community, if I can do it, I'm sure all of you are much more empowered today. So about a decade ago, my husband actually stood for that role. He got into that role, and I also always was so happy that, hey, I'm the spouse of the CI chairperson. And then cut to a decade hence, I became the CI chairperson, and of course my husband was the spouse. So, yeah, the difficulties were, I can in fact mention a couple of things that I actually faced. One was actually I went on a delegation with the government of Telangana because the timing in which I actually became the chairperson here was the time when the state split. And so as a result, I was inducted to become the chairperson of the newer state. And as all of you know, the new government had a lot of work to do in trying to make visibility on the global platform in terms of investments. Now, one such delegation was to the Middle East in Dubai. And I was there. I had my vice chair who was a male. We had the male minister, and I'm saying male here. We had the male bureaucrats. So I was the only female in that entire delegation, and we actually were going and meeting up with high net worth individuals there. And we were actually standing like this, trying to introduce ourselves. And we had all these guys come and shake the hand of the minister. And they're supposed to shake my hand, but they just sort of gave me a cursory glance, shook the hand of my vice chair, and then went ahead. And this kept on happening, the third guy, the fourth guy, the fifth guy. And I was wondering, what the heck? I mean, do they think I'm the spouse of that minister standing next to him? Just come for the shopping or something? And then I started handing out my card. And I had to tell them that, see, I am actually part of this delegation. I am representing the industry lobby from this state. And then the sixth person onwards shook hands. So that was one thing. The other thing, as I told you, is when I actually got elected and then the state split, in the initial term of 3 months, we were actually interacting with both the state governments. The AP ministry as well as the Telangana ministry. And the first 15-20 days, it was election time, and we had a lot of manifestos from industry that we were actually serving to both the governments. So I had my pictures flashed on all the newspapers with all the political parties. And that caused so much of, I think, sort of stirred for the guys who actually wanted to be there in my place. So there were a lot of issues happening, and that's when the state CI had to split. And we split into two areas. I'm sure if men were there, I mean, that wouldn't have happened because then they would have loved to be. And this is not something that I was actually looking forward. I was pushed into this role. And to actually be talking to ministers and bureaucrats was a whole different ballgame, because definitely they do not have the corporate background. And the way that they actually deal with you is much different from what you deal on a day-to-day basis in the corporate world. So that was a huge difference. And another personal anecdote that I can share, I don't know how many of you will resonate with that. I was actually at my cousin's wedding in Sri Lanka, and this was a destination wedding. And over small talk, there was this guy standing next to me, so we just introduced one another, and he asked me, do you work? I said, background. So I listened and I said, that's nice. And that was it. On the flight back, this guy somehow had some sort of a thing that, there's something about this woman. Apparently he did a Google search. And then at the airport, he comes running back to me and he says, oh my God, you are this and this and this. We didn't even know about it. But that's the reason, because you're a woman, you've been splashed all over the newspapers. I'm sure if it was a man heading the CI, we wouldn't have had so much of. And that was such a sexist remark, I felt, that a person of a younger generation who's actually thinking on that, in those terms. So yes, there's a lot of biases. I still do face a lot of it, but I know how to handle it. The Association of Indian Industry is a 120-year-old industry lobby that has pan-Indian presence. But in these 120 years, while they had verticals focusing on every sector of industry, sadly they did not even think about the women who were actually part of it. So it was only 4 years back when we had one of the regional chairpersons, Mr. Sanjay Reddy, again from Hyderabad. While he was chairing the southern region, he came up with this idea of having a professional platform for career women. And by career women, I mean both the professionals working in corporates as well as entrepreneurs. One thing that most of you must be knowing is that networking among women is really, really poor. Even though you're highly educated, even though you're networking, I mean in the corporate world, not otherwise.
You don't mean the kitty party.
Yeah, I don't mean the kitty parties. In fact, when we did a roadshow in one of the metros, and we had inaugurated one of the chapters there, the guys came and said, don't you have enough of kitty parties? Why do you need one more network? So we were furious, of course. So this is called the Indian Women Network. And we have presence all across India, most of the main metropolitans as well as the Tier 2 and the Tier 3 cities. And the primary objective is to ensure that we will, in the coming decades, increase women representation at the workforce. Most of you know that today in India, we hardly constitute 16% of the workforce. In fact, I just am coming from a conference at Taj Krishna that was hosted by the Union Minister for Labour and Employment, Shri Vanitha Datla. And he was talking on how do we make women more employable. Now, this is not the moot question here. Women are employable. The question is how do you retain them back at the workplace? Because you look at any educational institution in any of the streams, whether it's engineering, it's medicine, it's pharmacy, it's the liberal arts, 50% you have women. And also at the fresher level in most corporates, you do have a lot of women coming in. But that's where the story ends. And when they get into middle management levels, life hits you. And you do have milestones, you do get married, you do have children, you have tons of other issues to take care of. And that's when most of them chuck up. And that is actually affecting us today. As a result, we do not have any representation in senior management. We do not have sufficient representation at the board level, and we do not have women sitting on policy formulation issues. Now, when you ask me what did we bring to the table, in fact, whenever I spoke on any policy formulation with the state government of Telangana, I always brought the women's perspective to it. I'm sure none of my male colleagues did that because it's not in their genes to even think about what the women would be feeling. But as a woman, you would know whether that particular policy will actually hit you. Now today, all of you must be knowing that there is a change in the upcoming maternity bill. It's being changed from 14 weeks to 26 weeks. But is 26 weeks enough for us? What's going to happen to the baby post 26 weeks? Is it going to look after itself and then you come down jolly to work? No. While there are countries, Scandinavian countries, give you a year off, and then there are certain organizations that give you 2 years of paid leave to take care of your children. So unless we have women sitting on those bodies, that perspective is never going to come to the fore. Here again, let me give you a very, very personal story that happened to me. I believe that I'm an empowered woman, I'm an empowered mother, so I treat both my children, I have a boy and a girl, and I've treated them both equally in terms of whatever I was able to give them. So they both got married a year, 2 years ago, and I thought I would actually gift them from my own earnings, not my husband's, and not the ancestral property, but I would give them 2 flats. And then I actually identified these 2 adjoining flats thinking it would be nice. I approached a bank, and today you know banks give fantastic housing loans. So I spoke to the manager, that guy comes to my office, I give him all my financials, he says everything should be in order. 3 days, madam, and your loan will be sanctioned. Just let me know on whose names you'll be registering these properties. So I said, yes, one on my daughter, one on my son. He said, okay, madam, and that's it. 3 days go and I don't see any sign of this guy. So I asked my office staff, what's happening? So they say, let's find out. And then after the 6th day, this guy apparently tells my guys that there's some technical issue there and it looks like, I don't know, we're trying to work around it. So I said, why doesn't he come here and let's discuss this face to face? So he comes with a sheepish face and he tells me, ma'am, there is a technical problem. While you can actually buy the properties, you can actually register one on your son's name, but you cannot register it on your daughter's name. Now, these are the so-called banks today in India. The financial services sector has a fantastic representation of women, especially heading these organizations. But I guess they may not have actually gotten into the policy issues and these rules. These may be archaic rules that need to be upgraded. So I was aghast at this guy. Said, who the hell are you and who's the, how does the bank determine whom I can actually give my property? Say, after all, I'm going to be paying the EMIs and you have no good history of my credit and all that. He says, we have a couple of loopholes that I'm working on. Register both the properties on your son's name. Once you finish all the EMI payments, let him gift it to his sister. That's going to take another 15 years and I don't know what the equation would be at that point of time. He may not even want to give it to his sister. He might want to give it to his children. By the way, he's the one who's expecting a child now. So. And the other option that he gave me is if your daughter is married, which she was by then, let's put it on her husband's name. And we're talking about women empowerment and we're talking about women angel investors, while this country has the extremes. So, yeah, so we do have to look at the entire the population and the diversity that is there in it. And then while we do have the best of the best, we also have a lot of areas that we need to work upon. So one thing that I was able to bring to the table in the 2 years that I headed this CII was to bring the women's perspective in every area that I was trying to push for the government.